everybody. Welcome back to episode 84, Talkoffamepod podcast with your host, Kyliemontigney. I'm so excited to have on singer-songwriter Stephanie Quayle. Thank you so much for coming, Stephanie.
Well, thank you for having me, Kylie. Yes, it's. I just think you're awesome. Like I was saying to you off air a minute ago, just sharing, what a voice you're finding through podcasting, and the fact that you just reached out and you're like, "Hey, I want to share your story." So I just commend you because that's just awesome. You inspire me. Like, all right, well, she's doing it. I'm gonna get to work.
Oh my God, you're so sweet. Oh my God, you're so amazing. So you are a singer-songwriter. What made you want to start doing that? Basically, be part of the music industry.
I started writing songs when I was super teeny tiny. I just didn't know they were songs. It started with little poems and then little, I wouldn't say songs. They were versions of what I thought were songs. And then, utilizing the piano and guitar to really start kind of capturing my feelings, in these 3-minute movies, as I call them. And then it's been a cultivation of a craft. I think that for a long time, I just kind of wrote from wherever. And then as I moved to Nashville and learned really the craft of songwriting, and that it all does begin with a song, I've navigated all these different waters, from writing to be on the radio, writing to target certain audiences, to just writing from my heart. So I think I've learned, and I'm finally finding a blend of all those worlds, because I love everything that touches country music, from the TikTok 15-second song bites to, these epic projects that really depict, parts of my life. So songwriting is the greatest way to say something when you can't find the words.
Exactly. Like music is really amazing. Like to so many people, music is a way for people to connect more than people when you're talking. It's much easier to write down what you're feeling more than trying to express it through telling to people.
Right.
But I wanted to know what is basically the hardest part for you as a woman in country music and stuff, and being in the music industry? Because for me personally, as a woman in the industry, as a 15-year-old girl, it's very difficult since I'm so young and all that stuff. So what was the hardest kind of part for you about being a woman in the music industry?
Well, I've seen so many versions of it. So I'll share kind of it in stages, because it's very different now than it was when I first came into the business. So I made my first CD. I was 16, 17 years old.
Oh, wow.
Right? And just for reference, I'm 42. So that was a long time ago. And when I was first coming up in the business, it was very much kind of one way, one thought process that I experienced, which was you had to choose. You had to sacrifice family and children if you wanted to be, iconic female in music, and even outside of genre, just in general. And I remember hearing those stories and just being like, well, I want all the choices to be mine, right? If I want to have a family or not have a family, if I want to tour or not tour, all those different things. And so I just started kind of finding my own lane, right? Instead of following others and, doing it like everyone else was, I was like, well, I'm just going to try to do this. I'll start my own label, and I'll just find a way so that at the end of the day, I'm the only one who can fire me. So that was kind of it was, and also when I moved to Nashville, I met a lot of young women that were in their early 20s, which, I wasn't when I moved to Nashville. I think I was in my early 30s at the time, or 30, 30. I'm so terrible with my own math, but I've been in Nashville 10 years. So 32. And I'm just seeing all these young, vibrant, awesome women that write and play and entertain and are just so special and uniquely individually themselves. Being told that they were done, or being told that they were shelved, or told that they already had one of them. And I hate that phrase so much. We already have one of you. No, you don't. That's impossible, because we are all so special in our own right. And that kind of got me really like ferocious a little bit, like
Yeah.
internally. Like, how do I set an example so that
Mhm.
others can at least see an example forward of another way?
Exactly.
And if they do sign to a label and get shelved or dropped or whatever it is, that they don't quit themselves, even if everyone else quits you. I think that is something that I will be like screaming from the rooftops till I'm 100 and however long God lets me stay on this earth, because we determine when we're done. And the
Mhm.
greatest opinion we can ever have is the one we have of ourselves, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's just been, and then again, it's like you gotta keep going and not let the noise get in between the focus. I
Mhm.
think, all the typical things that we talk about in the entertainment industry impact country music, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's I've talked to women that, who have had tremendous success and those that are up and coming and and people in kind of my grouping. And, we all kind of go through the same thing. It's an incredible amount of hard work. And
Mhm.
we only get there by getting there. We only get there by continuing, right? And
Mhm.
there's so many people in the entertainment industry that are really bringing topics to the forefront that
Mhm.
it doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl or whatever. It's about, is it great music,
Mhm.
and taking age and all these other things that are just noise out of the conversation and really letting the music do the talking, right?
Mhm.
And let the artistry shine through. What I'll share with you is you're going to hear everything. People
Mhm.
are going to tell you all kinds of nice things and maybe not so many nice things.
Mhm.
But rejection is a gift. When people
Really
say
is.
no to you, it's a gift because it keeps that hunger honest. And
Mhm.
the hunger of what's your true heart's desire? What's the thing you can't quit because it's in you? That's what I
Mhm.
say to people in music. Like, if it's not so, like, has a hold of you and it can't let go,
Mhm.
then love it as a hobby, sing your heart out, but don't make it the business. Don't let the business tarnish the love unless it's like, I have to. And
Mhm.
that's been a big revelation for me in so many different, ways of just really staying true to the art, staying true to the music, and let
Mhm.
the business be the business.
Exactly. Like for me personally, like as a 15-year-old girl, obviously, like I'm so young and trying to start out in the industry. And obviously, I'm working my butt off every single day trying to get more known. And obviously, as for everyone, I'm continually working my ass off to get more work done and try to do a lot of things. And my parents are like, Kylie, you need a break. Like you need to actually
Yeah.
like live your life and like
Yeah.
have fun and use your childhood to like hang out with friends and all those things. And I'm like, I can do that too, but these opportunities don't come a lot, you
Well,
know?
here's what I'll share. I think what you just touched upon is probably the most important part of our entire conversation is that I lived in the future and completely missed out on the present because I was trying to get somewhere versus being where I was. And I
Mhm.
hope for your sake, for you, if I could just like hug you right now and promise you that you will get to everything that your heart's desires, your dreams, all that. Live your life so you have something to share with the rest of us. It'll all be there. You have all the time in the world. Make it count so much. Enjoy your friends, those memories. There are things that I would miss, family events because I didn't want to miss out on the work. I would miss moments because I was so afraid that if I took time for myself to take care of myself, to take care of my family, to experience those memories and moments, that I would miss out on something
Mhm.
in my business. And what I actually missed out on was the most important thing that I'll never be able to get back. So
Mhm.
I make it a point to find both. You can
Mhm.
absolutely do it all.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
have to take time for yourself so that you have more life experience to share with all your viewers and your listeners and the people that are going to learn about you. That's what makes you you,
Mhm.
And tomorrow will get here. So just today is your day. you know?
Exactly. I love that. Oh my gosh, I love that. And so, did you always like country music before you started writing, or you just
Oh
kind of
yeah.
like, okay, did you always kind of like write country music as you got older and started liking it? Because
Yeah,
like for me, I love country music. Like it's
yeah,
really like my favorite thing ever.
yeah.
So I was like wondering if you always like kind of liked it before you even start writing.
Sure. I was listening to country music all of the time, even without, pushing, turning the radio on myself. We had a little AM radio that played country music 24/7 in our barn in Montana. So that's where I just got, it was just ingrained, ingrained, ingrained.
Mm-hmm.
And then the music that my mom and dad shared with me. And what happened was I would be writing my little songs and playing them, and people be like, "Oh, you're country." And I go, well, I'm just me,
Yeah, I'm just writing what
And
comes
I'm
up.
just,
Like,
I'm just so it was kind of this blend of like, okay, I am a storyteller, and
yeah.
as Dolly Parton says, a song teller, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love the genre because of the storytelling. And
Mm-hmm.
I did find along the way people that tried to put me in other boxes. Can you dance? Let's do pop music. And everyone, I think that when we meet people that, have more experience than us and are older than us and have, maybe a big title, sometimes we don't trust ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
right? We go, well, we must be wrong
Yeah.
because they have the title.
Yeah.
And more often than not, my gut and intuition was right. Not only about the person behind what they were saying, but also about what is true to me. And
Mm-hmm.
it's country music all day long. I love
Exactly.
listening to other genres, but as a writer, as a performer, artist, it's country.
Yeah, exactly. Like my family always loved country music. Not exactly my parents and siblings, but my grandmother, like my other family likes country music. I didn't even start liking country music until like last year. I really started getting into it. Now like that's like the only thing I really listen to.
Yeah.
It's like Luke Bryan, Walker Hayes, like Carrie Underwood. Like there's so
Yeah.
many people that are like that I literally jam along to when get tired of it. Like
Yeah.
do you like have any artists that kind of like stuck out to you as a country music artist or anything?
Well, there's so many artists that I listened to growing up and listen to currently that, I kind of have a really special view because I get to hear so many of my friends here in Nashville play their songs before the rest of the world gets to hear them, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And so there's so much more access now to artists at all levels.
Mm-hmm.
From growing up listening to the Judds and Dolly and Reba and Willie and George to my contemporaries like Miranda and Marin, Casey. Ashley McBride is one of my favorite artists, Ashley Monroe. And there's Lainey Wilson. I mean, it's like, there's so many.
Yeah.
Carly Pierce, and Mickey Guyton. So when I think back to I was first coming up on radio, and it's like 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. I was on the road for almost 5 years, and at radio, and just kind of just staying the course. Now seeing so many more females get those opportunities at radio, it just makes me really excited for that. It makes me excited to see how many women are taking the main stages, and those main spots were not just the openers. So there is real movement forward happening, which is awesome. And again, it comes down to the music because the music is outstanding.
Exactly. Like, is that kind of similar to the last question? But do you have anyone that you look up to as a singer-songwriter exactly? In terms of
Who
like,
I look up to as singer-songwriter?
yeah.
Well, I think that when I think about Dolly Parton
Mm-hmm.
and think about her songwriting skills,
Mm-hmm.
she's one of the greatest of all time.
Exactly. She really is.
Also, Taylor Swift.
Mm-hmm.
I have found myself, I got introduced to her through a colleague, her music. I have not met her yet, but I can't wait. And really diving into her songwriting has been a real, I don't know, it's just a real fun experience to listen to her now and how she writes. But Miranda is an incredible songwriter. Casey Musgraves, incredible songwriter. Carly Pierce, Lainey. There are a lot, I mean, a lot of artists, Mickey Guyton, a lot of us are songwriter artists, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when you're sharing your own story, Luke Combs, when you're
Mm-hmm.
sharing your own story, it's really so very special. And when you find a song that's not like you didn't pen it, you didn't write it yourself, but you find a song that is so your words, and you don't know how someone else wrote it, that's the magic. That's the
Exactly. Like,
magic, and that's what's so cool.
exactly. Like as in terms of music, like, do you have anything specific things you write about in your music? Like, do you have anything that like inspires you kind of write, like personal experiences or anything that makes you kind of write a
Yeah,
song?
absolutely. I mean, you have to live life to write about it,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have to live
Mm-hmm.
it to write it to live it. And it's all personal. There's nothing untouched in my music. So you'll have to go take a deep dive into some of my deep cuts. And
Yeah.
that's what they call the songs that no one hears. Yeah. I love it. Everything is an opportunity to write about. I was on a conversation yesterday and someone said something and I immediately wrote it down. I post notes everywhere. It's like it's
Yeah.
like it's so hilarious. They're just everywhere. But because you hear something and it inspires you and you're like, I got to remember that. And I
Mhm.
have them everywhere.
Yeah, I'm saying like when someone like says something to me, I'm like I need to like write it down or something
Yeah,
like
of
that, or at
course.
least because I have a good memory and I like
Mm.
to remember everything. So I'm like I
Yeah,
need to keep this in my mind so I can
of
remember.
course. Yeah, no, life is inspiring. I
Mm-hmm.
think that the beauty of the difficulties we call the valleys is that, like, I don't know, it's really good sometimes to sit in it, in the
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable and get comfortable with the uncomfortable, but also just to kind of recognize it, not numb it, not put it away, but just recognize and go, okay, I'm in a valley and I
Mm-hmm.
will get to that top of that mountain.
Exactly. I really couldn't agree. And so like you were featured on the Kelly Clarkson show as a performer and guest and
Yes.
everything. What was that experience like?
Oh my gosh. Well, that was the
Definitely like changing
coolest.
everything.
I mean, she's amazing. Talk
Mm-hmm.
about like a songwriter voice, human, incredible.
Mm-hmm.
It was during COVID, and it was from we zoomed in, and it was just so cool. She was so kind and gracious, and to be able to share what I do on that national platform is, global platform is extraordinary. And
Mm-hmm.
and what you see is what you get with her. Like she is
Mm-hmm.
truly that awesome.
Mm-hmm. Like she really is. Like if you see someone like her that's really doing it all, because there's not a lot of people that do like a talk show. She's also like a singer-songwriter. She also I don't know if she is, but she was on The Voice as
Oh yeah,
well.
yeah, of
It's
course.
like
I mean,
she really does it all. Like she works on so many things that you
yeah.
never see her complain in
Well,
front
I
of
think too is it's a reminder that it's possible,
you. Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So impossible, just change it to I'm possible.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And so you recently actually came out with an album called Stephanie Quayle, the album. What was basically your inspiration or the meaning behind the album?
Well, so I wanted this to be self-titled because it didn't it usually when I title an album, it's something that it'll hit me, but for this one particularly, it was such a dynamic and challenging time,
Mm-hmm.
2020 and 2021, just navigating all the challenges that came with everything that we were all dealing with.
Yeah.
And you know, Stephanie Quayle is very much a find a way kind of girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were able to find a way. We were
Mm-hmm.
able to find a way to make this album through, everyone being in their separate studios and zooming in or virtualing in or whatever it took, we found a way.
Mm-hmm.
And so that really set the stage for what comes next. And it's a love story. It's a love story to my husband, my family, to myself, giving myself this the space to go to the next chapter, and to
Mm-hmm.
the fans. The flock of quail, they've been with me a really long time,
Mm-hmm.
and their dedication I want to always meet and give them everything I got. And so I'm really excited for where I'm headed musically, and I'm also just really grateful to be right here with you right now.
Mhm.
And in my mind going, I get to sing this week. I get to do what I love. And what a
Exactly.
reminder.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it really is. It's like during the pandemic, like you really couldn't do anything. It was really rough for everyone in many ways. And you couldn't leave the house. You couldn't do anything. It was rough for me especially because I couldn't do anything. And at that time, I was a 13-year-old girl, and I was starting to do more things. And I grew up with anxiety and
Yeah.
depression, so I got very worse as time went on during the pandemic. Like when we first started off, I was like, "Oh, great! Like I have some more free time. I can relax and just try to catch up on everything." And I did online school. Well, I
Right.
still do online, but I did online school, so it didn't really change for me personally. So like I was like, I have some more free time and everything. Like this is kind of great and
Right.
everything. I get to chill out, just take time for myself. Like this is kind of great. And I'm sure that was kind of like for everyone. Like I kind of it really showed them to kind of slow down for a couple of days and just go back to your life like once it's all over. And everyone thought it would last a couple of weeks. Personally, I thought that, but like I did now like 2 years later, 2 3 years later, it's still going on. And like, if it wasn't really for the pandemic, I wouldn't have started this thing, the
Yeah.
whole podcast and stuff. Like, it really, like during the pandemic, it's really hard for people to really connect with other people and talk to other people because like
Sure.
especially like I said before, you couldn't leave the house, you couldn't really chat and connect with people like personally, face to face. And
Yeah.
so like now, like I'm really like happy to be able to have these conversations. It's like do like 2 years ago when quarantine started, we couldn't have that. We only have like Zoom conversations or like FaceTime messages or whatever you like to use. Like that's really like what I'm thankful for is like we have Zoom and able to connect with all these people.
Right. Well, I just want to commend you for recognizing and being willing to share that your feelings with anxiety and depression. And because you're going to help a lot of other people be willing to go, oh, me too. And be able to share that takes a lot of courage.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so glad you found an outlet. You found a place. I think at the end of the day, that's what we all want, right? We all want a place and a community to be able to share, the gifts that we're given. And, I I look at this pandemic situation as such, it's like one of those things that there was nothing we could do to change it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the fact that you took control of an uncontrollable and you created something for yourself that gave you place.
Mm-hmm.
That's I very much understand that. I'm so used to being around hundreds and thousands of people
Mm-hmm.
and just living off that energy because that
Mm-hmm.
energy is just so spectacular. That's why live music is so
Mm-hmm.
beautifully intoxicating, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
having to recreate other ways to stay connected so that the loneliness wouldn't be overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I think one of the things I've really worked on over the last couple years is being really good with just hanging out with myself.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like it just like whole pandemic really taught me to really take time for myself
Yeah.
and everyone because like it really taught people to really slow down and take a break and really take time for yourself, even if it's just watching television, catch up on movies and TV shows or like
Yeah.
journaling, meditating, like or writing or something. Like there's always you always need a break and stay home for a couple of days and then just work and do what you need to do. And I just
Right.
kind of feel like the pandemic really taught us to really slow down and don't take things for granted. Because obviously, when the pandemic started, like they didn't know what exactly COVID was at that time. It was just a new
Sure.
disease coming around and
Right.
everything. So like, I was like, at first, I was like, I really want to leave this house. Like, obviously, I was traveling a lot. I love traveling. I was always doing traveling and going to sporting events. And I was always watching my brother play baseball, sports he does. Like, I was always doing something. And
Right.
I was never just sitting down and bored. I was like, oh, I was always going around. And so like, once the pandemic like kind of started, I was like, what am I supposed to really do? Like I'm always going around doing something like hanging out with friends or something. And I'm like, how do I slow down and take it to a little thing deeper than I usually
Yeah.
have?
Yeah.
and everything.
What a great just opportunity for that question to be asked. I hope we all keep asking ourselves that.
Mm-hmm.
We all keep asking, check in.
Mm-hmm.
Am
Exactly.
I letting tomorrow rob today?
Exactly. And so like actually CMT tapped you as part of the new Next Woman of the Country franchise. Like how were you kind of feeling about being part of that kind of franchise by CMT and everything? Because I think you said before we even started airing that you go perform for CMT, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's incredible to be, in that group of women, to be part of that. Just it's extraordinary, and it's a responsibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
I look at it like, okay, how can I continue to walk on the roads already paved by other extraordinary women in country music and continue to like help, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I living honestly and sharing that forward? And Leslie Fram has done an extraordinary job of really highlighting and emphasizing and just showcasing so many extraordinary women in country music.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Are you performing for them this week or something you said before or
The
something like that?
CMA music festivals
Oh
this week.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Where is that based? Like you said, Nashville.
It's all over Nashville. It's like Nashville becomes, I mean, it already is country music,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't walk anywhere without hearing, in a lot of cases, like my friends who I've grown up with, playing their hearts out and singing, and
Mm-hmm.
it's everywhere. And then, you've got the major artists at the stadium, and then there's all these stages everywhere, and it's awesome. So
Mm-hmm. It
I go
really
I
is.
go both as a performer and a fan every time.
Oh my god, I love that. Like I literally died to go to like Nashville because I feel like that's a place for me since I love country music
Yeah.
and everything. I feel like every time I see someone playing country music, I'm like, I gotta stay here. This is like my place.
You'll get here.
Exactly. There's always a day, there's always a time. It's a matter of
You'll
when
get here.
and everything works out. And so I guess we kind of turn back to like your album and everything. Like, do you have a song that kind of meant the most to you, kind of stick out to you the most on your album that you recently came out
On the current album, I think the song that's probably the most rattling in an unexpected, beautiful way is Light My Way. And I did not write that song. When I first got pitched that song, I was reluctant because of the line, uh, you know, may the bridges that I burn light my way. I've,
with?
built my whole career on my, reputation and my character and my integrity and, always doing things the best way possible.
Mm-hmm.
But that last line in the song, may the bridges that I burn be the lessons that I learn.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's where it changed for me. And at the time that I recorded it, I didn't know what the next, year was going to look like. And that song has been a bit of a prophecy. Not burning bridges to hurt anyone, never. But having to make hard choices and decisions about moving my business forward, about moving myself forward,
Mm-hmm.
and being really honest, even if it wasn't the thing that the other person wanted to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And that song has been one of those songs that's just really, it's lighting my way.
I
And
love that.
it's very exciting to now look at it from the lens that I have currently and where I'm headed.
Oh my god, I love that. It's so awesome. So the final question is, what is some advice to like younger generations or people that are like kind of starting out in the music industry that kind of would like to become like a big successful like singer-songwriter one day?
Right. Man, well, I think we touched on it earlier, but just reiterating, it's all in between your ears.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can control this, you can control your destiny.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You can find what is like beyond a dream. It has to be beyond fame. It has to be beyond money, celebrity. I get all that. That's part of, when things are successful in any business, right?
Right.
There's a lot of that stuff that comes with it. And ready for the failures. I would say that write your story, share your story, be your most authentic self. Don't chase moving targets. I think that if you're chasing a moving target, you're already behind. And I think that when you're just in your own self and going, okay, what do I have to say? What do I have to share? I think that's such a powerful statement. And if you're not a songwriter, then find the songs that make you soar. When it's just you in your room and you're singing at the top of your lungs, like, what is that song? And break it down and find out why. If it's a lyric, if it's a melody, if it's a moment, if it's a mood, if it's a minor chord that just makes you go, oh, I have to have more of that, whatever that is. And I think that trust your gut. The business is the business for a reason, and you have to have both to be in the music business, right?
Exactly.
So kind of creating that firewall of when I'm creating. And when I'm in business, I'm in business. And both matter very much, but no one messes with the creative. Like the creative has to be its own. And then we figure out, okay, can we do something with it, right? And that's just part of it. But, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And, sometimes people rise quickly and sometimes it's a slow burn. And I think when it's your heart, it doesn't matter when. It's just a matter of, this is going to, because I love it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So really allowing time to be your best friend and not your enemy.
Exactly. There's always someone that really connects with a song, no matter if it's just the beat of the song or the lyric or something. There's always a song that you really connect to. Like, there are like a million songs I can easily play right now and just would never get bored of it. And that's really for everyone. Even if it's like a Luke Bryan song or Ariana Grande song or something, like you just basically jam out to it, keep replaying it, and you never get bored.
Never. Shania Twain for me. Like I can, like you can put her on repeat. Miranda's song Bluebird, like I could listen to that a gajillion times. Casey Musgrave's song, Space Cow, Slow Burn's one of my favorites of hers.
Yeah, I like a man. I feel like a woman. I love it.
It's fantastic. It's one of a kind. I mean, it's when you think about how many topics there are to write about, and the fact that we still find newness in the same conversation, right? A love song, we'll never be sick of love songs.
Exactly.
We'll never be sick of breakup songs. We'll never be sick of cheating songs. We'll never be sick of anthemic songs, right? So it's just one of those things that, music is just so powerful, and it's the vessel, it's the person, it's the voice, and that authenticity, I think that's really, really special.
Exactly. And that's like the perfect way to end it and all of those things. So I just want to thank you so much for popping on and taking some time today. It was so great to speak with you. I could really speak with you forever. I wouldn't get tired. You're so amazing. I could really talk with you all day. And so it was so amazing. I just loved our conversation we had, and we will definitely keep in touch. And where can everyone follow you and everything on social media and everything?
Absolutely. I'm everywhere Stephanie Quayle. So anywhere there is a handle for Stephanie Quayle, I am there. And then for, the website, we have tour dates and all our merch for sale and all that good stuff. And my music is streamable everywhere. So find me.
Yeah, perfect. Everyone go find her and find more about her and everything. And thanks so much for tuning in. And it was so great to speak with you. It's such a blast to talk with you. And we'll definitely keep in touch for sure.
Mwah! So proud of you.
Thank you. Right back at you. Talk to you soon.